one of the questions I had was, when we look at what we're not calling an immigrant experience, what have we learned about our heritage that allows us to have that connection to Africa?
It is healthy and psychologically uplifting to have the recognition that you come from someplace and that your origin does not start on a slave ship. Point one. Two.
Or from Mississippi.
Or from Mississippi, thank you. Or you're right, for any southern state, that your origin doesn't start there while everybody else's origin starts someplace else. It's important to know that you have a history as old, or if not older, than those other ones. It's uplifting. The other thing is to recognize that we didn't lose everything coming over here. And that was my point earlier. It's not just a matter of us looking at the continent, but understanding what Africanisms we have maintained here today. The other point is studying those and making sure we're clear as to what are those Africanisms and what are not, what naturally grows from us and what didn't. Right. And then look at what contribution that has made to the American personality. Because it has. America is more than its European heritage. Much of it comes from us. Jazz comes from us. Blues comes from us. Gospel comes from us.
Not to mention a bunch of inventions.
And not correct. And I was just keying up. I was just getting started.
Got him started.
Right. But that's the point. America's much wider, and I think that's one of the things that Obama's candidacy says to America, that its heritage is more than just Europe.
No. Ages ago, Jesse Jackson was the first person I know came out and talked about being African American, and it never really took hold. And the way he explained it, that I remember, was he was trying to talk about a shared experience, that I am African by ancestry and American by birth. Why did that not? Because I hear Chinese Americans call themselves that. Bosnian Americans call themselves. Why is it that we're stuck with black?
I'm sitting up here thinking, I don't call myself African American. I call myself black, and it's really I call myself African, and not African American. But not.
So you'll either use the term black or African?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just ran up on some information recently about how black people in America, a certain income level of $25,000 and below, generally call themselves black, and then those who make $100,000 a year or more call themselves black, but the ones in the middle call themselves generally African American.
Most black people do recognize that they're Africans, that they're Africans in America. And they may not express it
or know what to do with it.
Okay, we'll go with that. but they may not express it, but they feel it. You know, there's certain things that resonate. You know, images that they see, things that they hear, and things that we do. No mistake. They establish that we're Africans in America. We may not say it that way, but we're being Africans. There's no question.
I think we have to keep in mind also that Africa is a continent, that is not a country. It is a continent with thousands of different groups, with different names. You know, Yoruba, Ewe, Efe, Afanti, Ashanti. You have thousands of different groups. Now, which one of those groups is more African than the other? They're all African. So there's obviously something, a unifying culture, a unifying continuity between all of them that makes them African.
You call yourself what?
African.
Mm-hmm. There will never be a time where you'll be African American?
No.
And what about your children? Will they be?
Well, my children, it's things that I've been thinking about. I think my children will still be African. Well, Africans born in America. So they'll
Yeah,
still
we've
be
tried
African.
that once, and there was too many words.
Okay.
for us to put together.
They'll still be Africans.
They'll be
They'll be
Africans.
Africans.
Okay.
They'll
Okay.
be
And so that's where you've decided that that's going to be the mark, is that rather than call them African Americans or black, now how will you ingrain that in them, teaching them their heritage, teaching them language? How will you ingrain that in them so that they remember who and where they came from?
Okay. One thing that I've thought about, if I think it would change from if I was to get married here to an American. I say black American. I'm sorry. But, I guess my children will have to learn both the African American way and still learn the African way. That's my desire. My children will learn to speak my language. I want them to know where I came from, and I want them to know my culture.